Thanks for staying with us. Government says it's aware of the pressures on the country's credit ratings and remains committed to addressing them. S&P has affirmed South Africa's long-term foreign and local currency debt ratings at BB- and BB respectively, with a stable outlook, while another agency, Fitch, has affirmed both ratings at BB- with a negative outlook. Fitch says challenges remain, including high government debt, low growth and slow vaccine rollout as far as the COVID-19 battle is concerned. Raymond Parsons is with the Northwest University and joins us now for more on this. Always good to speak to you. So you believe that the decision by Fitch and S&P buys South Africa a bit more time to get its house in order. How so?
Good evening to you. Yes, look, I think the fact that Standard & Poor and Fitch have left their investment rating and outlook unchanged at this stage is positive, and it's confidence building, but it also, importantly, gives South Africa more time to get its economic house in order. You will have seen that both agencies have noted recent improvements in our growth rate and improved public finances. For example, Fitch has now said that our growth rate this year will be 4.3%, which is in line with what the Reserve Bank was saying on Thursday. This is a rebound, of course, from the minus 7% last year. But, and this is an important health warning with this message, they do not yet see that South Africa is out of the woods economically for a number of reasons. There are still structural constraints on our economy which inhibit growth. The extent to which stabilizing our public finances still depends on containing the public sector wage bill, the unreliable supply of electricity, i.e. our inability to keep the lights on, and then finally the rollout of our vaccination program needs to be expedited. So when they come back in 6 months' time, they will see how much progress we've made.
And do you think government is well on the way to achieving that? You look at the issue of state-owned entities, that has been a problem for years. Stabilizing government debt, it appears to be worsening at this point, not getting better, some would say. You've now got the added pressure of a sluggish vaccine rollout. Is government moving fast enough on those main points?
I think we should note that in its reaction to what the agencies have said in the past day is that obviously the government is taking seriously what they said, what is the underlying message, and has indicated that it's committed to, of course, addressing these issues. But I think the important point now is we have to walk the talk. In other words, we need to show in the next few months some demonstrable wins in the areas that are indeed worrying all of us, not just the credit rating agents. We have to ensure a successful vaccine. We have to have that rollout work. We've got to stabilize our public finances. We've got our state-owned enterprises to get right, and we've got to keep the lights on. So I think the challenge now in the next few months, against the background of what the credit rating agencies have said, and recall also that a week ago, Moody's did not make their report on South Africa for all sorts of reasons, not, of course, peculiar to South Africa, but nonetheless, we are, in a sense, on probation in the next few months to see if we can begin to tangibly take this rebound in the economy, and it's only a rebound, and convert it into sustainable, long-term, job-rich growth. In other words, we mustn't be mesmerized by the 4% this year. We've got to look beyond this year. And that's really the underlying message to all of us, which is emerging not only from South African experts, but also from the credit rating agencies, that unless we do something about what we've promised to do, i.e. tangibly implement what we have committed ourselves to doing, that time is now. And I think that's the underlying message that comes through from what these credit rating agencies are now saying.
So can it all be achieved without further bailouts for SOEs?
Well, I think that's quite important. It's an important number in the budget metrics. It's not as big as the issue of the public sector wage bill, because really those budget numbers and the credibility of those budget numbers hinges much more on the public sector wage bill. But there is an ongoing chronic problem in the financing and the restructuring of state-owned enterprises. I would like to think that We do have an existence, which was appointed a year ago by the President, a state-owned enterprise advisory council. Well, I think it also needs to meet urgently the government to take the right decisions and, above all, to implement them about state-owned enterprises.
Very quickly then, sir, Moody's recently withheld its rating for South Africa. Do you think it'll take its cue from S&P and Fitch?
I think it's hard to say. I wouldn't like to speak for them. They obviously decided not to do it, not because, as I understood it, because of South Africa alone, that there were a group of countries on which they have not completed their homework. So we may still get a message from them, but I would be surprised. I'd be surprised if they took a different decision at this point in time about South Africa's investment rating.
Raymond Parsons at the Northwest University. Good to speak to you. Thank you, sir.